Hello everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most famous and groundbreaking cases in legal history, Donoghue and Stevenson. It's a case that introduced the neighbor principle and laid the foundation for modern negligence law. So let's start with the facts. It's 1928 and our story begins in a small cafe in Paisley, Scotland. Mrs. Donoghue was enjoying a nice bottle of ginger beer, which she didn't even buy herself. It was bought by her friend. Now, everything seemed fine until she poured out the last bit of the ginger beer, and out came a decomposed snail. Yes, a snail floating in the bottle. Forget about spicing things up. That's a garnish that nobody asked for. Naturally, Mrs. Donoghue was horrified, and unsurprisingly, she fell sick. She wanted to sue, but here's the legal twist. She couldn't sue the cafe owner because she didn't buy the ginger beer herself. Remember, the friend bought it for her. So she had to get creative to sue Mr. Stevenson, the manufacturer of the ginger beer. Now, this was difficult because at that time, the law of negligence did not cover this situation. Because traditionally, injuries arising from defective products were normally claimed on the basis of a contract of sale between the seller and the consumer. Mrs. Donoghue didn't have a contract with Mr. Stevenson, who manufactured the ginger beer. But she argued that Mr. Stevenson, as the manufacturer, had a duty to ensure that his products didn't contain any unwanted things such as snails. So the key legal issue was, does a manufacturer owe a duty of care to someone who isn't in a contract with them? Does Mr. Stevenson owe Mrs. Donoghue, a customer that he has never met in his life? Does he owe her a duty to make sure that the ginger beer is safe to drink? The case made its way up to the House of Lords, where Lord Atkin, in a moment of legal genius, introduced what is now known as the neighbor principle. In simple terms, he said, you must take reasonable care to avoid acts or omissions which you can reasonably foresee would be likely to injure your neighbor. So who is your neighbor? Well, it's not just the person living next to you, it's anyone who might be affected by your actions. In this case, that meant that Mrs. Donoghue was Mr. Stevenson's neighbor, and he owed her a duty of care to ensure that his ginger beer was free from snails or any other unexpected ingredients. This decision was revolutionary. It established the modern law of negligence, where it is not just about having a contract. It's about a duty of care to people who you could foreseeably be harmed by your actions. So from that day on, manufacturers, businesses, and professionals were put on notice. You owe a duty of care to people affected by what you do. Mrs. Donoghue may have suffered from that drink, but she paved the way for millions of people to seek justice in negligence cases. Her legacy lives on in every personal injury claim filed today. So what are the takeaways from Donoghue and Stevenson? Number 1, always check your ginger beer for snails. Number 2, the neighbor principle is the cornerstone of modern negligence law. Number 3, manufacturers and businesses have a duty of care to the people who use their products, even if there's no contract between them. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this case summary, or if you have just learned to check your drinks more carefully, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Thanks for watching.